So you're thinking about moving to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and you want to know the good and the bad, the pros and the cons. Well, you're in the right spot, because that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video today. We get calls all the time from people asking about what's the best place to live in North Idaho. Is it Coeur d'Alene? Is it Post Falls? Is it Sandpoint, Athol? So today we're going to break down some of the pros and cons of living in this area so that you can make an informed decision before you move here. So if that's the video you're looking for, you're in the right spot. We're going to go get after it right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, then hit that subscribe button, tap the notifications bell so you can be the first to learn about the current market conditions here in North Idaho. My name is Seth. My wife's name is Kristen. We get calls, texts, emails all the time from people just like you looking to make that move here. So whether you're looking to move in 6 days or 6 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, give us an email, and we would love to help you make that smooth move to North Idaho. It's probably the most important question that will come up is, where the heck is Coeur d'Alene? Coeur d'Alene is in North Idaho. It's in that skinny little piece that runs up between Montana and Washington. We call it the Panhandle. So that's that section of North Idaho. Coeur d'Alene kind of sits right in the middle of that, right on the north shore of Lake Coeur d'Alene, which is absolutely gorgeous. We'll show you some footage of that as well. And we're about 45 minutes from the Spokane International Airport, which is in Washington. So that border with Washington is very close to Coeur d'Alene. It takes about 15 minutes to get to the Washington side, and then a quick jump into Spokane to get over to the airport. So north-south, we're about 2 hours from the Canadian border, which is cool. You can run up that way. There's some beautiful sights to see up there as well. We're about 7.5 hours from Boise, which is in southern Idaho. That's a common misconception. People always think the two are much closer than they are. Idaho is a long state north-south. East-west, especially where we live, takes about 1.5 to 2 hours to drive straight across it and be into Montana. All right, so the population of Coeur d'Alene is, at this time, according to niche.com, 56,733 people. It also rates, Niche also rates CDA, which is short for Coeur d'Alene, as the 7th best place to live in Idaho. I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with that one because I think it's probably like top 2. The overall rating, according to Niche, is a B. So that's taking into account public schools, housing, cost of living, things like that. Median home value here is in the mid 500,000, and median rent is about $1,900 a month. The percentage of renters here is 44% versus the people who own their homes, which is at 56%. Another thing to take into account here is crime. All of the violent crimes, murder, assault, is lower than the national average. Property crimes are also lower than the national average. I live in downtown Coeur d'Alene, and normally if you live in a downtown of a city, you can expect a fair amount of property crime, maybe to see some assaults here and there. But we have never seen anything like that. Like it's a very clean downtown. One thing you'll notice if you move here is that there's a lack of graffiti. You're not going to see homeless people anywhere. I mean, literally like 1 or 2 that pass through, but it's not an epidemic here like it is all over the US, which is absolutely amazing. So when you come here, you'll look around and you'll be like, wow, this is a very clean city. And I feel safe walking around downtown. And that's the feeling a lot of people like you are probably looking for. Schools, and that's a big one for a lot of people. According to niche.com, Coeur d'Alene has a B rating for their public schools, and there's 29 public schools here, 18 private schools. Homeschool is absolutely huge here, so I know a lot of people that move here are already homeschooling in whatever state they're coming from, so they come here because it's so much less regulated. You have a lot of freedom in what you do, and that's very important to some people. We also have the College of North Idaho, the University of Idaho, and Lewis and Clark State College. They're located about a quarter mile right behind me right there, right on the corner of the Spokane River and Lake Coeur d'Alene. Beautiful campus. So just to recap in this video, we're going over the pros and cons of living in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Make sure you stick around to the end. I have so much more information to give you. We're going to cover affordable housing, the community, quality of education, job opportunities, access to outdoors, sports, all of those things. So stick around. All right, I want to talk about the affordability of housing in Coeur d'Alene. So the lowest price home sold in the last 6 months was $225,000, and that's not including manufactured homes. The highest price home sold in the last 6 months was $10.2 million, It was a waterfront home, 6,000 square feet with a guest house, the whole deal. The lowest current active listing right now is $249,500. That's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath on about an acre. And the highest current active listing is $13 million. That's 7.76 acres with 642 feet of Spokane River waterfront access. All right, Coeur d'Alene is growing. Obviously, the population is going up every year. There's a little bit of limit to the land because most of it is developed already or owned already. So a lot of the newer building that's going on right now is pushing up into what we call the Prairie, which is north end of Post Falls, Rathdrum, some of the north end of Coeur d'Alene. The average sale price for homes up here, this video was filmed in June of 2023, was $762,000, and that sounds really high, but keep in mind that the average takes into account those multi-million dollar homes that are selling as well. So the actual median sales price is more like $550,000, somewhere in the mid $500,000. The average price per square foot right now is about $306 a square foot, and keep in mind the median price per square foot is going to be a lot lower than that. All right, so check this out. We're at Memorial Field, which is in downtown Coeur d'Alene. It's right next to the Fort Sherman playground and Fort Sherman neighborhood. This place is awesome. You can come down here in the summertime, watch a baseball game, softball game, picture all the beautiful people out here running around doing their thing. It's a great location. So we get this question all the time, is the CDA housing market going to crash? Spoiler alert, no, it's not going to crash. The homes are still selling at 97% of list price on average. We are also seeing homes selling above list price at times, depending on the price range. So with low inventory and high demand from people just like you who are wanting to get here to find their sense of freedom, it's keeping the market healthy and stable. All right, for the investors out there, there's about 913 active short-term rentals in Coeur d'Alene. The average daily rate is $259, and the occupancy rate is about 63%. Average monthly income on those is $3,298. So with the short-term market here, it can be extremely lucrative for you. We have summer months, they're booked up like crazy, and then even into the winter months because we have so many ski resorts within an hour and a half of Coeur d'Alene. So in terms of rental properties, according to Zillow, the median rental rate currently per month is $1,900, and if you jump up to like a 3-bed, 2-bath, that's going to go to $2,000 plus a month. The highest current monthly rental is $7,500, probably a nice lake house, and the lowest is $800, which would be like a studio apartment type thing. People are coming to Coeur d'Alene from all over the country, but very specifically from a few certain areas. California being one of them, Oregon, Washington, Utah. Generally, they're driven here for political reasons. People are leaving areas where they feel like they're oppressed. They can't live the life that they want to. They don't feel free. So those people are flocking here, just like you might be thinking, just like we did, to find that sense of freedom that North Idaho still offers. One of my favorite things about Coeur d'Alene are all the diverse neighborhoods within the city of Coeur d'Alene. So you've got downtown, Midtown, Sanders Beach, Fort Sherman. What am I missing? All the suburbs outside of Coeur d'Alene as well. So there's just so much going on here. And some of those can be cons, honestly, because there are some areas like the Fort Sherman neighborhood, which is where we're at right now. It's extremely expensive to live in this area. So that could be a con for some people. It's just completely unaffordable. But there are pros to living in those downtown areas. Midtown, downtown, Sanders Beach, the Garden District, they're all walkable. So you can walk right down to Sherman Avenue and be in the middle of everything within a few minutes, which is super cool for a lot of people. Also, the beach is accessible, McEuen Park, Tubbs Hill, all of that within just a few minutes. So that's a big pro for a lot of people. But once again, prices in that area are going to reflect how nice it is to live there, and they're going to be more expensive than living in some of the outlying areas. I'm standing in front of the officers' barracks from Fort Sherman, which was a fort that was occupied from about 1878 to 1900. It was right here on the bank of the Coeur d'Alene Lake, or Lake Coeur d'Alene, and this was abandoned in 1900. It now sits on the site of North Idaho College. So it's a cool area. You've got this wonderful neighborhood. The lake is right behind the camera there, and then off to my right is the Spokane River. So it sits on this corner of land that juts out into that water, and the college has beachfront all the way around. So it's a great spot. The community's welcome to use it as well. And like I said, we've shown you some videos, driving videos of this neighborhood. It's absolutely gorgeous. However, it's pretty expensive too. Here we are in front of Hudson's Hamburgers. It's iconic in Coeur d'Alene. It's been here since 1907, serving up hamburgers to the people. It's on their 5th generation owner. This place is awesome. It's super simple. You go in, there's a counter, and the people working behind it, they ask you what you want. You have basically a hamburger, a cheeseburger, and pie, and drinks, of course. And that's it. It's super simple. Like I said, it's been here forever. It's totally worth a visit if you're in town, just to pop in. And warning, it gets crowded, so get there early. All right, let's go check out a little bit more history about Coeur d'Alene. Right here behind me is McEuen Park, which is a staple of downtown Coeur d'Alene. And this area has a ton of history. This whole area used to be a mill for the logging industry, which is basically what Coeur d'Alene came up on. And right behind us right here is Tubbs Hill. Be sure to check out our video on Tubbs Hill. So we take a hike around it. We show you all the history of Tubbs Hill specifically. That's a cool video to check out as well. Coeur d'Alene has so much unique history. This town is ripe with it. It's absolutely amazing. So, for example, Art Spirit Gallery right here, they've been here since 1997, and they feature artists, regional artists from all around the area, many different mediums and styles. This store is super cool to walk through if you're in Coeur d'Alene, so I definitely recommend that. Here we are in front of the Museum of North Idaho, and I'm gonna read it to you on this one just so I get it right. So their goal is to collect, preserve, and interpret the community's history and traditions. Can you hear the turkeys behind me, by the way? There's turkeys all over the place out here. They envision becoming a social, cultural, and economic hub throughout educational programming. Hey! And dynamic exhibits while remaining a high-quality research institution and archive. So this building, they've been working on it nonstop for a while. It's gonna be, I mean, you can see it's gonna be a really cool kind of piece of our history here in Coeur d'Alene. I believe the building was moved here from a separate location. So this whole area will be really nice. Kristen, can you pan over there? So we're right on the edge of McEuen Park. Just on the other side of these trees right here is a dog park. Coeur d'Alene Public Library is right there. So this museum is right in the middle of everything. It's a perfect location for what they're trying to do here. Let's talk about jobs for a second. So is this going to be a con for the area? The main economic drivers for jobs here are lumber, tourism, and healthcare. So we have a big healthcare system here, obviously. Tourism's huge, especially in Coeur d'Alene. We have the whole resort. The resort owns all sorts of things that people work for. And then the lumber industry is also really big, and that's there's numerous mills up here in North Idaho where a lot of people work for. But that's kind of a con too, right? Because you're limited on jobs. So we also have some people come here, work remotely, and that works as well. And a lot of retirees coming to the area. So if you're thinking you're gonna come here and score a high paying job, you might wanna look first. That is an issue for a lot of people. Another question we get all the time has to do with property taxes. So people assume property taxes are higher here because places they might be coming from have high property taxes. In our experience, they range from about 0.6% to almost 1%. And that's like geographically, you'd have to look at, there's a levy rate map. And if you look at that map, it's, you really have to pick the spot because it's all over the place on what the levy rates are. So the way they calculate taxes here in North Idaho, they multiply the levy rate, which is decided on the location, times the value of the house, and that's how you get your property taxes. So it's variable all over the place. The best thing to do if you have questions specifically about an area is reach out to us. We have the interactive levy rate map, and we can look for that specific area and let you know what the levy rate is for that area. So let's break down some of the cons again. We've got job market is a bit of a con. How busy it gets here sometimes because it is a resort town. And then the cost of homes. Buying a home here can be very expensive. So also traffic in the area. So the infrastructure is improving as the population builds, but it's, as all things do, it takes some time. So and during certain times of the year, it's a lot busier than others. So those are some of the cons. Now you have to make your own decision on that, because to us, it is still well worth it to live in this area because of all the pros that we have here. It's absolutely beautiful. North Idaho is a very free place to live. So if you're running from something politically in another state, you might find that you fit in here much better. There's such easy access to the outdoors, great places to eat, schools are good, neighborhoods are good, crime is low. All of these things add up for us and make this a wonderful place to live. But that's a decision you'll have to make on your own. And if you have further questions about the area, don't hesitate to reach out. Whether you're moving in 6 days or 6 months, we get calls, texts, and emails all the time from people just like you with questions about the area, questions about housing, anything. Don't hesitate to reach out. Our number is easy to find at in the comment section down below. And once again, please hit that subscribe button, tap the notifications bell so you can be the first to learn about the changing market conditions here in North Idaho.